A YouTuber named the Starbreed notices a bright white object floating upwards and starts recording. The weird object somewhat looks like a street lamp, except it's way up in the air and seems to be heading in the Starbreed's direction at a fast rate of speed. Moments later, it is only a fraction of its original size and hovering directly overhead, twice as high as before. The Starbreed continues to record in total disbelief, not even so much as making a sound, just quietly zooming in. Just when it looks like the unidentified flying object is about to go away, it does something completely different instead. He records a brief strobe light effect and then the UFO is gone. Looking back at the footage, the Starbreed has little doubt that this was actually an abduction attempt on him that was aborted at the last possible second. I'm not sure if this was a real encounter or just CGI. As I said before, it almost looks like the UFO could be one of the street lamps edited. Take a look at the evidence again and let me know what you think really happened here. Lately, Louise Paxton has been scared out of her mind while staying alone at her house. She says that every night a tall man dressed in all black stands outside of her door without saying a word. Now he's back. She goes to call the police, only to find her cell phone has not been charged. At this point, Louise feels enough is enough. Blade in hand, the terrified woman unlocks the door and confronts her stalker for a final showdown. She swings open the door and finds absolutely nothing on the other side. The wind picks up and howls down a cold, empty alleyway. Judging by this video evidence, it looks as though this person is an incredibly sly stalker, in which case I'm sure her problems are only just about to begin. I hope she's alright, but it's been a long time since she's posted anything to her channel. A YouTuber named David Rebordeo hears noises coming from an attic and decides to go up and investigate for himself. Here you can see they are both far away from the source of the noise, and they're not pretending to hear something. David videos the upstairs for a while and doesn't come across much. He passes the camera and starts to climb down the ladder. All of a sudden, the equipment makes a buzzing sound not found in any other part of the video. That's when the noisemaker reveals itself and nearly makes physical contact. It's hard to say if this was a person or some sort of ghostly ghoul. The buzzing noise makes me think that this was a paranormal disturbance, but I guess this could have been CGI, so let me know what you think it was. A YouTuber named Benny Loco is on a desert urban exploration in a bunch of abandoned houses that are empty, or so she thinks. She steps inside and looks to the right, no one. But standing on an opposite side of the room, under some drapes, is a silhouette that she thinks is some kind of animal figure because of these supposed ears.
Boudoir. With a bunny in the window. Creepy bunny.
But all I see is a hooded figure staring at her through a thin piece of fabric. This is one of the only times I've seen somebody laugh off a ghost sighting and not check to see what it was. All of the windows are blocked, so I guess she could be looking at a piece of cardboard or something. But since something just moved in that room and then disappeared, I have to go with paranormal activity on this one. A woman is approached by a stranger in a store and they talk for a few moments. She thinks it's kind of strange, so she watches where he goes, only to find the man is now standing by her bike.
I don't know, and then he just walked over to my bike.
They talk about the bike for a while, but the conversation is really awkward. I don't know what he says here, so tell me what you hear him say in response to this question.
Are you riding it today?
Not right now.
No, not
I'm
me.
with my wife.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's an island dentist. It's nothing. It's kind of fuzzy.
I'm not sure if I heard him right, but I think he says that he just came from the dentist and is feeling fuzzy, so I guess this means they numbed him and maybe gave him something strong, which could explain the general weirdness to begin with. You can tell she's trying to steer the conversation to a close, but he doesn't seem to take the hint and it's about to get even weirder.
All right. I was just, you had asked me, what I was riding, so I came out just
I saw you walk in with a helmet and your jacket.
Yeah.
Right.
He doesn't give her a chance to say no before he's on the bike to see how it feels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't mind.
No, just don't drop it, please, all right?
Maybe this is a biker thing that I don't understand, but this seems about as creepy as if somebody wanted to get inside of my car to see how the interior feels. Let me know if you ride a bike how you would feel about this stranger encounter. Eventually, she has to excuse herself, but it's weird how he's still looking intently at her bike.
All right, so nice meeting you, nice talking with you.
She eventually walks away, and even though he walks with her, tell me if you think he was making friendly conversation or up to something, because I don't know what was on his mind. Orkun Isitmak is a popular YouTuber from Turkey who goes exploring on all kinds of adventures. He's one of the few people willing to take a trip to the abandoned city of Chernobyl, a place where few dare to go after a nuclear power plant meltdown in the 80s left the area covered in radiation. He brings with him a Geiger meter used to measure levels of radiation, and a couple of scary moments are caught on camera. In this spot, the meter reaches about 50 units. That doesn't sound that bad, but then I realized an X-ray only takes seconds, whereas he's probably been standing here for hours. Big difference. And when he starts to go down here...
Radyasyonun kalbine giden kapı burası. Evet. Artmaya başladı. Yok, buraya asla gidemeyiz.
The Geiger meter warns him not to. This tunnel is the heart of radiation, he says, and wisely turns around. The glare is covering the screen, so I don't know how many units the meter reached, but if it was in the hundreds, then permanent damage might have already been done in that instant. Later, as he's exploring a research facility lined with jars of old specimens, he finds a room with nothing but cribs, a room that no doubt has the scariest and most mysterious backstory of all. What was this facility working on, and why would they need to keep so many kids down here? Jay Swingler is a YouTuber who claims to have been stalked for a long period of time in a very bizarre manner. He never sees a stalker face to face. Instead, they prefer to send Jay videos of himself that were taken without his knowledge, and some of these videos record very intimate moments of his life. Here, for example, is a random video of Jay fast asleep next to his girlfriend. It was apparently taken late at night through a window. To make things even worse, Jay says he has received these videos through the file sharing app called AirDrop, but by design both parties have to be within 30 meters of each other for the app to work, which means whoever sent this was very close by. I guess there's a possibility the video could be fake, but he seems genuinely fearful and truthful in his explanation. I think it is probably real, but I encourage you to watch the full video and let me know. A YouTuber named Johnny B. Good goes ghost investigating at an underground memorial deep in the woods to see if they can uncover any evidence of the paranormal. They notice these rocks are in a strange formation that I think could have been used for some kind of black magic.
These rocks were placed here in a circle once, in this one corner. Why is there a hole right there?
Sure enough, holes are in two corners of the room. Could this be part of the spell? They ask if this place is a portal, and look what their K2 meter does in response.
Is that a gateway to you?
Yeah, okay.
And here's where it goes from creepy to downright sinister. Their UV light detects two blotches of fluid. They could have come from some kind of vein opening ritual that never should have been. A man draws suspicion when he holds his phone a little too high while looking away. When he does look at his phone, he appears to be in deep concentration. Little does he know the window behind him reflects his screen, betraying him and telling the whole story to anyone quick enough to notice. Look to the right and you'll see the blurry image of a woman sitting. He is obviously recording the female passenger for whatever reason, who is secretly recording him in return. This continues for well over a minute. He is looking straight at his screen, and there's no possible way he doesn't know the camera is on. The idea of watching someone through your phone is beyond creepy. And if he was recording a video, who knows how many times he watched it later in his free time. This video will definitely creep you out if you like chocolate peanut butter cups. For some reason, this one seems to have some extra ingredients that I'm pretty sure aren't supposed to be there. Dozens of worms of all different sizes weave in and out of the chocolatey layer. Some of them are so small that they look like specks of peanut butter until they move. I'm not sure how they got in there, but this candy looks pretty old, and it's probably what happens past the expiration date. So I'm not exactly sure it's the manufacturer's fault, but still, if this had happened once, it has probably happened many times before, and maybe somebody else didn't look as closely before taking a bite. A 4-year-old is happily drinking his juice until for some reason the straw stops working. His protective parents get a bad feeling and curiously inspect the package to see what's wrong.
And this is what it's inside. Nasty.
A thick green clump of sludge clings to the bottom and blocks the straw. Slowly they realize their child has been unknowingly sucking on what could be a giant floating piece of moldy gel. As if that wasn't bad enough, the father flips it over with a straw to reveal an even worse looking underside.
Ew. Oh my god.
Again. Look at that.
The alien-looking growth is probably loaded with bacteria and far from safe to consume. So if you've ever been enjoying a packaged drink and the straw stopped working, I guess you now know a reason why. A YouTuber named Chase on Two Wheels is riding around Atlanta, Georgia with a friend when two strangers approach and ask a lot of direct questions.
Huh? What kind of bike?
Y'all recording?
Yeah.
The men immediately back off when they learn he is recording with a helmet cam. That's when Chase's friend notices something is very wrong. One of the men never takes his hand out of his pocket, and when they review the footage, they see what appears to be some kind of firearm. Maybe they are jumping to conclusions, but there's just no way to know what would have happened next if the men didn't notice Chase was recording. Based on what you've seen here, let me know if you think they really were armed or just making friendly conversation. Tyler Rowe works in a grocery store with a freezer that he and all of his coworkers are sure is haunted. First, it starts with these strange noises, almost like someone is trying to kick their way out. The kicking noises grow more intense until finally, at 9:02 a.m., this always happens without fail.
Here comes.
This time Tyler is determined to get to the bottom of it. He bravely marches in and documents that absolutely nobody is inside the freezer. Watch this part and let me know if you can see anyone because I didn't.
Is there a light in here? And there's nothing in here. There's nothing, nobody, anything. It's just open.
I can't help but suspect that a past employee somehow got locked in the freezer one morning and did not make it. Now they are trapped in spirit, kicking the door much like they did in their final hours on Earth. If someone can give me a mechanical explanation of why the door would burst open by itself at 9 in the morning every day, I would believe otherwise. The Coonan Ghost House is a famous cottage in Ireland that has been haunted for over 100 years by a terrifying poltergeist who was possibly brought about by a witch in the family. Not even an exorcism was enough to rid the house of its curse, and so the family fled into the woods. Now, members of a paranormal research team called NK Hauntings are ready to go exploring the abandoned building in search of the legendary poltergeist and other scary things they can find. The investigation gets off to a rocky start when they jumble their words while addressing the spirit that resides there.
If there's anybody with us, you can communicate. Sorry, I'll start that again because that made no sense.
But something must have understood what they were getting at, because a possible ghost orb disappears into one of them shortly afterwards, perhaps selecting the ghost hunter with the most agreeable aura. The team puts down paranormal devices that will only light up when something taps on them. Just standing near the device or walking by will not set off this paranormal equipment, but a ghost touching it will. It isn't long before they hear scary noises even though there is no traffic and no wind. They're arguing about which direction it comes from when they hear it again. More scary noises.
Like it will come from that direction rather than that direction.
No, I can't even hear it out here.
There your cap all that up beside Alex.
Here's the paranormal sound again. Some kind of rising noise just before their paranormal equipment detects a ghost tapping on it.
I can't even hear it out here.
There your cap.
Just to be sure, they all stand away from the ghost hunting equipment and ask the poltergeist to tap their equipment again.
Or light up another, oh my god.
And when the paranormal energy resides, they are able to summon the spirit again just by casually talking about it.
This poltergeist that used to torment the family, it used to bang around up the stairs apparently in the loft area and...
Capo.
They note how cold it is in the vicinity where the poltergeist is believed to be standing, and the complete absence of life and warmth overwhelms them all. The trio activates a ghost listening device and picks up 2 words you never want to hear in a legendarily haunted house at night.
What? Murder. Murder.
Was there someone hung here?
I think an EVP of a woman's cut-off scream in reply to this morbid question certainly counts as a yes. Unidentified flying device sightings, ranging from Manhattan to Brazil, is enough to make anyone at least a little nervous. A YouTuber named Lazara Black saw this bright soundless blip moving fast across a Miami night sky on March 19th, 2020. It pauses in midair and is soon joined by another ball of light that moves effortlessly and without noise. Whatever these are, they aren't a normal aircraft, and they certainly aren't slow falling flares. A second Miami YouTuber named James Black confirms this sighting with a second video, also uploaded on March 19th, 2020. The glowing orb is too big to be a drone and moves so quietly that you can hear the nighttime crickets chirping away. Listen. About a week later, this Manhattan sighting was uploaded by YouTuber Plumber33789 Peebles. What looks like a lightning storm produces no visible bolts, and then the same familiar lights rise together in a triangular pattern. All of them fly out of sight, but this final one simply disappears into the clouds, so I'm guessing that's what the rest did as well. Did we just witness a fleet of unidentified flying devices taking off? I think so. And I've saved the weirdest video for last. This was taken on March 13th by a YouTuber in Brazil named Frederico Mueller, who has been seeing these strange lights for months now. This video proves that they are abnormally bright, perhaps even radioactively so, to the degree that they burn bright white even when behind a cloud in broad daylight. And his dogs are going crazy too, the kind of restless barking when danger is approaching. Not quite here yet, but soon. In the very beginning of this creepy video from India, a man is riding on a motorcycle and then he's suddenly on foot. So I guess he must have broken down in the middle of nowhere and has to walk to the nearest town. After a while, he sees somebody else and is relieved to find help. But when he gets a better look, his hope does not last. The woman is wearing long white robes and holds her arms bent in a weird stance. The two do not speak and the man knows that she is not normal, so he doesn't even try. As she advances, he notices her face is abnormally gaunt and pale, the face of a zombie or someone close to their end. And the scary woman is making creepy noises too, barely human ones at that. She is not very coordinated and he keeps backing away to create more space, more amazed at this strange sighting than necessarily scared. The best look we get at her face is around 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Some say that this is a demon sighting caught on tape, and she has large dark circles under her eyes like a possessed woman, though I suspect it could be special effects makeup. He slowly backs away without taking the camera off her for a minute, never letting her slip out of his sight until he presumably reaches help in the next town. Let There Be Light, posted to the Ghost video subreddit by Zombie Foxes, the Redditor explains, the security guard quit after seeing the CCTV of an orb walking through a car park and turning on lights in the storage room. The lights can only be turned on with a sensor when you walk 4 to 5 steps in the bike store, which also requires a fob to access it. The video shows the car park in question. For a while, there's nothing to see here, but then the tiny white speck or orb floats slowly across the scene from the bottom right of the screen to the door. Just as it arrives there, the light beyond flicks on. Coincidence? Or is there just something here that we cannot see? If it's true that the lights are only triggered when a person enters, then who or what's inside? No wonder the security guard didn't want to stick around. A YouTuber named Snakebit McGee makes a vlog in which he talks about 2 scary discoveries he made while exploring the desert.
And there's a hole here that just goes way down. I'll show you that. And then it gets kind of scary. I'm looking for a cave. And something about that cave just spooked me out of all the caves I've ever gone in.
He just found an abandoned mine, but what he really wants to find is an M-shaped cave that scared him before. His subscribers are interested and tell him he needs to go back and find the cave to make another video and maybe go exploring the abandoned mine too while he's at it. He agrees and goes out a second time to find the cave, but sadly never returns. His body is never found and nobody knows what happened to him. Watching this video while knowing he's still missing makes this even more eerie, especially this part.
I'll just show you. Down inside that hole, it goes way, way, way down in there. Let me see if I can. That's pretty far.
It's scary to think that he's joking about something that might have seriously happened to him much later upon his second return. To this day, nobody knows what happened to him. A YouTuber named Sydney Ghost Hunter records this strange noise at 3 a.m. It's definitely not his cat. Now, here's the weird part. You'd think this was the noise of a wild animal, but Sydney Ghost Hunter says he did not hear anything in real life, and I believe him because his cat never so much as looks up. What would you do if you saw this happening in your home? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Raymond Powell. Raymond writes, "Not proof, but it definitely freaked me out. Looking for advice. A screwdriver sitting on the counter is moving on its own with no one and nothing near it to cause such behavior. Raymond runs over to the cupboard, opening it to see if there's anything under the counter that might trigger it. He turns up nothing. Picking up the screwdriver, he looks around his home. When he starts hearing random pounding coming from above, he gets his step stool to open the hatch above his attic. He calls out a greeting, but catches nothing up there on camera. While some in the comments were waiting for a jump scare, others, like Redditor, Everything is Dumb 0624, were trying to find answers. You either got a ghost or a person living in your crawl space, he writes. I'm not sure which one would be worse. A YouTuber named Rose of Decay records a scary Snapchat face swap video that leaves her wondering if she had a real ghost encounter.
Hi. Are you bad?
What's really creepy is how this mirror image kind of has her eyes, but at the same time they're all black. The bizarre face goes away for a while and then comes back as soon as she has a question.
Can you talk to me?
This time the apparition has its mouth open wide as if screaming. It's probably just a software glitch detecting a face in the mirror that isn't there. So I don't think it's necessarily real, but I don't see anything that remotely looks like a face. So hey, that's real enough to me. Seeing an alternative version of yourself scream while no one is there is definitely creepy nonetheless. For months now, a YouTuber named Bogue731 has been receiving unwanted attention from a man who rides the same train as him every day. According to Bogue731, this person would repeatedly attempt to touch and otherwise harass him while riding on the train. He has tried to tell him to stop in the past.
I don't want to be friends. There's nothing you can do to convince me. But why? Because you make me uncomfortable.
But this man will not take the hint. One day, Bogue731 turns around, drops the politeness, and makes himself abundantly clear.
Stop following me. Sit down and stop following me.
Eventually, a superintendent has to step in and take charge of the situation before it gets any worse.
Can you get him to stop following me, please?
Okay, somebody needs to get off the train and somebody sit down. Why are you following him?
I don't know.
She separates the two of them and leads Bogue to a different train cart so he can finish what's left of his ride in peace. Bogue is only there for a few seconds when he looks over and sees none other than his not-so-secret admirer staring him right in the face. Apparently, nothing he can say or do is going to convince this man to leave him alone anytime soon. When you happen upon a cave carved into a mountainside, you might want to think twice before entering. Published to YouTube by the Highway 9 in September of 2017, this video serves as a warning to never ever go caving alone. The footage takes you through a deep and dark rock-hewn cave. Along the way, bats are seen hanging from the ceiling, and a long black centipede-like insect is climbing the walls. But the creepiest part is yet to come. As the YouTuber rounds a corner, he senses something deeper in the tunnel. He presses on, peering into the darkness, and seems to see a figure beyond. Highway writes, "I'm not sure what I saw, but it scared the wits out of me." Needless to say, he fled the scene as anyone would. YouTuber LeeStat444 writes in the comments, "This is what happens when you enter a cave full of bats, dusts, and insects. You find Batman." Whether this unfortunate explorer found that or something much more nefarious is anybody's guess, but I'm gonna err on the side of the second choice. You're never alone on an amusement park ride. This phantom will make sure of it. Published to YouTube by Eli Zix in September 2015, the following footage will have you looking twice. The clip shows 3 women and a man riding the pirate ship at an amusement park, swinging back and forth. At the beginning of the clip, there are clearly 3 women there, but as the video ends, the 3rd woman on the end has completely vanished. Where did she go? Did she fall off the ride? Disappear somehow? Or was she ever really there at all? Some in the comments claim that this girl passed away on this ride 2 years prior to when this video was filmed. This is all hearsay, but who knows? The truth has to be out there somewhere. Mega Chris 18 and his friends know about a creepy old courthouse somewhere in Corpus Christi, Texas. They sneak in through a hole in the fence and start exploring the outside perimeter for a way into the building. Last time they were able to get in through a broken window, but they're disappointed to discover it's been boarded up since. Mega Chris 18 walks up and curiously knocks on the wood and receives an unexpected response.
Hello? Hey, when I say hello, the light turned off and it turned back on.
The group quickly develops a method of communication with the possible spirit using the light on their camera.
Can you do that one more time? Can you do that one more time so all my friends can see that?
The ghost uses the camera light to respond to a series of true or false questions. They soon learn that they are talking to the spirit of a young female who is somehow trapped inside the courthouse. After a while, they feel its presence slip away and stop getting responses. I really wish I could have seen Chris's hands to see if he was messing with the light. This video could be real, but we'll never know for sure. Maddie and Elijah are ghost hunting with a guide named Eric in an old asylum that has over 80 rooms of horror to investigate. Let's talk about this door. They think somebody scratched at it for hours, and I think that's what it looks like, but I seriously hope it's termites. To support their theory, these scratches at 10 minutes and 55 seconds do look like someone took their nails to the wall, as well in a fit of madness. Later, they hear this distant moan. I definitely think this sounds like a person, but let me know if you can think of some other explanation.
So that's it.
What the f? Did you hear that?
No.
So that's creepy, but what I want to talk about more than anything is what happens after Elijah makes the mistake of holding a haunted bridal doll. This crazy noise is the spirit's response to being asked what her name is. It sounds wicked and definitely like nothing I'd want to be in the same room as. Even Eric admits he has never heard such a harsh EVP come from that doll before in all his experience as a tour guide, and he also says nobody has ever touched her before, so I think it's real. And as further proof, look what happens when the doll is asked if she's upset about being touched.
Are you mad that Elijah came in and touched the bride?
Judging by this paranormal ripple effect of negative energy caught on camera, I'd say yes, she was. An African expedition becomes tense when a group sees a hippo nearby and then lose sight of it.
I was hit by it for sure, yeah. He just came charging, he was feeding it.
Hippos are known to overturn boats and other craft, so they have to be careful.
Just watch, because he charged down this channel there.
Just when one of them says it could be nearby, the animal comes out of the water and gives them a surprise. Fortunately, this one looks like a scared juvenile that just wants to get out of there more than anything. If it was a few years older, this video would have probably come to a much more brutal conclusion. Jack Cook's son Michael has been acting strange for days, not like himself at all. He is normally a happy child, but he is visibly agitated during his birthday and seems to channel all of his anger into a single act of defiance when it comes time to blow out the candles.
Day to you. Michael, make a wish. Cheer up, big guy, cheer up.
His father can't believe what he just witnessed and orders his son to do it again. Sure enough, Michael somehow is controlling the flames with his mind. The obvious answer is somebody is blowing out the candles off camera, but I don't hear anything. Watch the father's explanation and tell me if you think his emotions are real or simply good acting skills.
It's been a week now since Michael went into the hospital, and doctors don't know what's wrong with him.
A customer reaches for a drink when he begins to shake and sputter out of control. It looks like it could be a seizure, but he does not fall down right away, so some people say it's a possession. At the 48-second mark, he points to something only he can see and begins shrieking in horror. This is when he goes down a second time and does not come back up. One minute and 5 seconds into the video, you can see a ghostly figure in the reflection to his left that could be the spirit of his aggressor. Paper towels fly to the ground on their own shortly after in a further indication of paranormal possession. A paranormal investigator in South Korea called D-Doc Mikol stands in the entrance of an abandoned apartment building with a haunted reputation that few dare to document. He means no disrespect to the spirits inside and is simply recording paranormal evidence out of scientific curiosity. Nonetheless, he only gets a few steps inside before he sees an object is moving by itself.
누구세요? 누구세요?
A ghost pushing over a box is creepy, but not scary enough to stop an experienced ghost investigator like him. He keeps exploring the building, and thus the objects keep moving.
잠깐만. 와, 씨.
Instead of running away in fear like most, he is bravely willing to examine an object after a ghost moves it. I don't see any strings tied around this stool, but I guess someone could have pulled it away by hand. Just when he is about to leave the room, the poltergeist refuses to be ignored.
뭔 소리야?
A shelf tips over by itself. I thought somebody could have been hiding on the other side of the door, but look what happens when he checks the room.
이거 여러분들 잡기는 아닙니다. 이거 잡기는
A second full-size shelf somehow falls out from within the small space behind the door, which is not big enough for a person to fit behind. And when he checks behind the door, at 6 minutes and 4 seconds, you can just barely see a shadow figure caught on camera. Down a different hallway, the ghost hunter sees one of the doors leading into a dark apartment is open. He knows a paranormal entity is near, and when he investigates a little further, this scary moment happens. One thing I especially like about D-Doc is that no matter how scared he becomes, he always makes it a point never to back down. He looks behind the door and into the empty apartment. And finds nothing there. I see no strings attached to the sandals, especially during this close-up taken at 8 minutes and 59 seconds. Then again, this could be fake because the sandals take tiny steps and never actually leave the ground, which is not how a person walks when you think about it. Anyway, he finds slippers in front of another open door and experiences the same scary events.
잠깐.
This time he actually stepped foot inside the apartment and verified that it's completely empty. When he picks up the slippers, you can clearly see there are no strings attached, so at this point I'm creeped out. Finally, while setting up an experiment to detect paranormal activity inside of this apartment, a mysterious figure briefly appears in the hallway. Was it a ghost caught on camera, or was it a prop? Urban exploration videos in abandoned places are perfect settings for ghost investigators to explore, but sometimes they find more paranormal activity than they are ready for, and that's when their paranormal investigation becomes mysterious, unexplained, and most of all, really creepy. This YouTuber is exploring an abandoned building when they hear some potentially paranormal poltergeist activity coming from upstairs.
These are all the staff bathrooms. Here's a dinosaur. You hear that thud? Alright, Kobe, I'm throwing this in the toilet.
As they slowly climb the steps, the first thing they notice is how much darker it is up here. The last thing they notice is the poltergeist that comes straight at them and then disappears.
We should definitely go one at a time.
Absolutely nothing is there at 1 minute and 24 seconds, and then you see its head, and then something out of my nightmares is dragging itself across the floor. A YouTuber named SBRT Life is going to investigate some train tracks that are rumored to be haunted by an inhuman creature. The tracks are reportedly hard to cross and very narrow. Numerous people are said to have been run over or fallen to their doom. They sneak past a fence and it isn't long before they hear strange noises from an unseen beast. They soon find a set of tracks elevated high off the ground. The bottom is pitch black and they can't even see how high up they are. One of them gets a little too bold and goes out a long distance.
No.
We're not out that far.
No, if you look down, you're out that far.
Then, as if right on time, the worst equipment malfunction possible occurs.
Oh my god. Alex, my light won't come back on.
Suspended high above ground in total darkness, this YouTuber hears a train horn.
There's a train coming. There's a train. Get your boots. Get your boots, Tyler.
The group of friends now blindly races ahead, desperately trying not to fall off the tracks or get run over. Finally, with the track fast approaching, they are forced to jump. As you can see here, they barely make it out alive as the train passes overhead. Fortunately, they had cleared most of the track, and it was only about a 5-foot drop instead of 30. The only thing that saved them that night was their own speed. As for what caused their flashlights to turn off, the group has little doubt that it was the very same creature that the legend spoke of. A YouTuber named Audrey and Liz is excited to recreate a science experiment. She learned that if you soak a dollar bill in isopropyl and light it on fire, it won't cause any damage.
I'm gonna dip the dollar.
Everything is going according to plan, but then she messes up by holding the bill over the open container, catching it on fire. She tries to pour water into the container to extinguish the flames, but when that doesn't work, she makes the biggest mistake of all.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Oh my god!
Panicking, Audrey flips over the flaming liquid and sets her entire table on fire. She turns off the camera so we don't get to see exactly how this situation was solved. Obviously, she managed to escape with her life and later uploads the video onto YouTube, but if any of the liquid got on her clothes or hair, it could easily be an entirely different story. Old tunnels are full of history, and often that history is fearful. Published to YouTube by IKS Exploration in March of 2017, this clip explores the abandoned Dover tunnels. According to the channel, this is one of the many tunnels bored into the ground to allow fresh spring water through without upsetting the ground above. Me and Chris don't feel good in this location. Strange sounds and hums can be heard. He also claims to have heard a voice that sounded like that of a girl. Wear your headphones to hear what they hear.
Just a...
As the pair wander through the impressive tunnels, they appear indefinite. Will the explorers make it out of here alive, or be left wandering this labyrinth for eternity? As noted, the tunnels have cracks in the linings, making them particularly dangerous. Today they are locked down and inaccessible to the public. Probably a good thing. While planting trees, a YouTube channel called Homesteading Off the Grid accidentally records the eerie cries of something shrieking deep in the forest. If you know what kind of animal this is, let me know, because many people claim this sounds like some kind of mix between a human and an animal.
Did you
Sound
hear
like
that?
it's screaming at me, yeah.
Oh wow.
They don't hear anything for another 6 minutes and decide to stop recording. If this was a person, it sounds like they were in serious need of help. Nevertheless, that shriek is enough to give anyone chills. Are there paranormal happenings recurring in your home? This YouTuber can relate. Published to YouTube by Youngboy Lloyd in March of 2020, Lloyd asks viewers for help as he believes there's a ghost in his home. He shows video proof across a series of 3 clips. The first part shows him watching something on TV when a plant falls over on its own accord and rolls off the entertainment center. When Lloyd moves to pick it up, it falls over again and he gets scared off by something unseen. In the next clip, he takes action, burning sage to get rid of the ghostly presence, and as he does so, the chair at the end of the table starts moving. Lloyd doesn't notice at first, so the ghost forces him to, aggressively flinging the chair onto its side. In the last video, Lloyd says he's not going to allow a ghost to take over his house. As he's talking, a cabinet door opens behind him in the next room. A pot on the counter can be seen falling to the floor. Lloyd jumps up from his seat and tells the ghost to leave.
Eat that thing, my one with her.
Did the ghost listen? I don't think so. This radio DJ is live on air when all of the lights go out. Some of his equipment is still on though, so this is not a normal blackout. He is all alone and doesn't know what to do, so he calls someone for help, probably a management at home or technical support. That's when a cloaked figure passes by the window and makes him put down the phone. He creeps to the window and looks down the hall. Whoever it was is already gone. The next call he makes, I'm sure, is to the cops. According to him, this radio station has very high-tech security that requires thumbprint authorization to get in. Nobody should have been walking around after hours, especially not somebody dressed in ancient robes with their head down. Earl Kirkendall captures a bright light in the sky, but it's not a meteor, lightning, or an unidentified flying device. It's his poor neighbor's house erupting. This video is terrifying because of how calm everything is before, during, and after. There's no warning signs beforehand, and seconds later, you'd never know a family's entire livelihood has gone up in flames. Even scarier, a cause for the incident has yet to be determined, meaning anyone in the neighborhood could be next. A Facebook user named Andrea Collins believes one of her security cameras caught a ghost late in the afternoon on March 22nd of this year. And after taking a look at the evidence for myself, I think she's right. Ordinarily, I would say that this is a bug crawling across the camera, except in this case it looks like a little ghost girl with a white dress and long black hair. It's also positioned perfectly in the middle of the screen, exactly where a human would stand, so my bet is that this is an apparition seeking help, or at least some attention. And if this is what Andrea sees in her yard, then chances are her house is haunted too. Dennis Allen takes an inner tube down the local creek. It's something he's done often before, but this time it's raining and the currents are stronger than he has ever seen. Still, Dennis is confident in his abilities and bravely sets forward. The ride starts out gentle enough, but soon picks up speed as he moves into more open waters. Soon he really begins to regret not bringing a paddle, as he is carried through low-hanging branches and other thorny obstacles. He manages to keep his balance for about 5 minutes, until it becomes apparent that he can no longer hold on.
Oh shoot, this is too dangerous.
He is carried downstream and eventually clings to a bridge while water rushes beneath him. Dennis seems to be trying to stay calm, but I can detect some fear in his voice, perhaps more than he is meant to let on. He quickly realizes pulling himself out of the water is going to be a lot harder than he initially thought.
Oh, this was something stupid. Oh shoot.
Dennis slowly works his way to the shallow end, without letting go, and eventually he climbs out with the help of a nearby bridge pole. Looking down, you can see he was clearly not exaggerating the danger. The current is strong enough to pull a full-grown man under. A YouTuber named Josh Higgs is on vacation somewhere when a raging wildfire causes him to pack up and take off.
Oh wow. Yeah. Dude, that gets closer every time I record it.
He and his family escaped to a remote cabin that's a good distance away. Firefighters have even cleared a ditch around the property in hopes of containing the spread. Soon it becomes apparent that they may not have gone far enough.
Way too close for comfort. And it's coming closer and closer. Whoa.
I can feel the warmth.
I know.
I can feel the warmth.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Josh and his family should have left a long time ago, but they wait until the fire is very close before they pile into their car and barely escape. I wouldn't be surprised if where they were standing was reduced to rubble and ash within the hour. A single gust of wind in the wrong direction could have sent the fire screaming towards them twice as fast as before. Siblings sing happy birthday to the camera for someone who lives far away.
Zum Geburtstag alles Gute, zum Geburtstag viel Glück. Alles Liebe zum Geburtstag, Mama.
When they finish, one of them says something at 19 seconds that sounds like she might say mama.
Alles Liebe zum Geburtstag, Mama.
I don't know what she said, but mentioning her mother drops the mirror straight to the floor. And look, a pale apparition caught on camera in the reflection of the mirror before it happens. This video is probably edited, but if not, it looks like a paranormal entity has a problem with this family, or at least the mom. This bar ghost is one angry customer, posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Zazzy Malith. The Redditor claims this clip is video proof that the restaurant she once worked at was haunted. The clip shows security footage shot from behind the bar of the restaurant. A close-up reveals a glass sliding of its own accord and then appearing as though it simply hops right off the counter, smashing onto the floor. Nothing and no one caused it to fall. Zazzy adds to the perplexity of this writing. The glass that fell was one of those wine glasses that are heavier on the bottom to prevent it from falling over, and was sitting on a non-slip rubber mat used commonly in bars. Just one more reason to call in sick. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The Redditor writes that this is the most terrified he's ever been. The scary footage shows an attic of an abandoned house under night vision. At the beginning of the clip, Connor hears a strange noise. He looks around a little and, from upstairs, captures something in the window on the ground floor. It's glowing. He decides to go investigate. Down at the window in question, there's absolutely nothing there. Nobody, no light. Next, he uses a spirit box to speak with whomever is in the home. Someone asks him to help and let him out. Another voice says to please leave. Admitting this gave him chills. Connor says this is probably the last time he'll return here. As he's walking into an adjacent room, a board is flung at him. He stops in his tracks and turns around to look around him. Nothing is there. In the comments, Connor explains, it was a rock or a brick that barely missed. It flew past the right side of my head. That's why I'm never going back there, cause I feel like I could have passed away. No kidding, there's something evil in this house, and it wants you to leave. You'd best listen. Don't leave your fun up to an app. It might take you on a journey to your demise. Published to TikTok by Stephen Donovan. He explains that he was using the Randonautica app to direct him on a random adventure. For those who are unfamiliar with Randonautica, the app delivers a set of local coordinates supplied by a quantum random number generator. In doing so, users are encouraged to explore the unexpected. Steven's coordinates certainly delivered. Here's what happened. Randonautica sent these two on a dirt road through an abandoned ghost town. Creepy mannequins are standing in the windows of the empty wooden buildings. The mountain roads take them past empty cars parked on the shoulder. However, no one appears to be in the area. They pass a sign that reads private property, but they ignore it and continue up the steep, narrow road. It's getting dark and they are now on foot. The pin is pulled up and they are getting close to their destination. That's when they see it.
But we had the pin pulled up. We were so close to it. And this happened. I don't know how to explain this.
Something rolls down the hill from a broken structure, and in that structure they see what looks like a melted face. They take this as their cue to leave. TikToker Rachel Chun surmises, watch those cars be the ones left behind by the randonauts that never left. Steven notes that he deleted the app after this misadventure. After this, can you blame him? Jamie West is on vacation, and earlier that day, she and her friends had a brief conversation with some random boys at their hotel. It's late at night when they get a knock on their door and find the same group waiting for them outside. Now Jamie and her friends are nervously watching from the other side of the door, trying to decide what to do. It kind of seems like it could be some innocent back and forth flirting until one of the strangers gets even bolder. They record Jamie and her friends through the crack in the door, encouraging them to come outside in hushed tones all the while. Jamie goes deeper into the hotel room and doesn't answer the door. Let me know if you would have done the same thing, or if you would have taken the chance and opened the door for them. Wreckful is a streamer and YouTuber, and in this video, he is live streaming in the streets of Japan. It's late at night and the streets are almost completely deserted. Wreckful soon notices that he is being followed by a man wearing a surgical mask.
Wait, I'm on follow. I'm gonna flip the camera.
Wreckful begins to look genuinely afraid as he stops himself from panicking. He ultimately decides to run when he turns the corner.
I'm running.
He eventually stops and confronts this potential stalker. It turns out this man is a fan of Wreckful and was wanting to scare him as a joke. Wreckful is still clearly shaken up from the incident while talking to his follower and his friend. Well, it turns out Wreckful was in no danger. The confusion of being followed by a stranger is certainly frightening. This security footage shows a strange moving blur that distorts large sections of the floor as it passes by. A short while later, someone appears to be shoved from behind while walking by. It's odd how they lose their balance while walking across the exact same part of the floor. That was blurry only moments earlier. Also notice how, for whatever reason, they immediately look down at the floor. Could they possibly be seeing something with their own eyes that the camera doesn't detect? A kid is reading something off a website when his friend says something that makes him pause. Tell me what is being said here if you can.
Una bomba que puede explotar en cualquier momento.
A wild face at the window sends him sprawling backwards in his chair with fright. There's no playing that scream off. He was seriously afraid for his life. He must not have seen the camera hidden in his friend's lap, and he never expected one of his other friends to jump at him from the window with a crazy look in his eye. But at least he saves a little bit of face by regaining his composure quickly and laughing along with them. Still, nevertheless, having someone peeking through your bedroom window is certainly a nightmare. This video captures a total stranger on a bridge waving hello to rush hour traffic in a full clown outfit. A stranger waving to no one in particular is creepy enough, but take a look at its arm. Maybe it's just the angle, but the arm seems way too long and thin to belong to any person. Slow it down at the 15-second mark, and you can see the forearm alone looks to be the same length as a normal person's entire arm. This old VHS tape from 1999 could have captured a ghost, but I need your help to tell if it's true.
If you look to the right of the two tombstones, you can clearly see a figure standing there dressed in white.
I definitely see the ghost in question, especially when you zoom in. There's actually a surprising amount of detail, and I can even make out the buttons on their shirt and possibly a long musket. At the same time, I have some other possible explanations as to what this could be. This could be the open space between two trees, in which case the vivid details are nothing more than a random arrangement of branches. This could also be a cemetery statue from afar. This was taken way before high definition, so it's hard to tell for certain, but I'd still like to get your thoughts. Christopher passes by a mysterious figure that everyone in the car thinks is really weird. He's in the middle of the desert of an unnamed Arabic-speaking country and hasn't seen anyone in miles and miles. Christopher says he was worried this person might be stranded, but when he turns around to help, they were gone. Well, more like disappeared. That's really weird if they are telling the truth because there is nowhere to hide. They might be facing the camera and even reaching out to them at the 29-second mark. What do you think? I can't tell if this is a person or a ghost sighting. Are they asking for help? Ghost towns are abandoned for a reason. Published to YouTube by Ricky Velasquez in May of 2020. Ricky claims the devil appeared, writing in Spanish. I have no words to describe what happened. I don't think I can forget. This was filmed in a town in Mexico with around 250 residents. It's ostensibly a ghost town, and the duo's exploration of it is enough to run you out of town too. After doing some sort of ritual in the yard, outside an abandoned building, involving liquid being sprayed and fire being lit, the pair wanders around the grounds. As the cameraman takes in the surroundings in infrared mode, he spots something that gives him a fright. He decides to get out of there, hurrying down a dirt path. That's when he happens upon this. El Diablo disappears, but you can still feel him there. It's no wonder Ricky cannot forget. Moral of the story, if you call him, he will come. A Nepali YouTube channel named Anish Gurung TV are not full-time ghost investigators, but they do have some paranormal investigation videos in abandoned places that get pretty creepy. An apparition seems to follow them on one of their urban explorations. This is when they first hear it. I want to say that this is the wind, but it's a calm night and this sounds way too much like a haunting moan. They reach the top and look around, feeling the presence of a ghost near them at all times. There's nowhere else left to explore, so they go back to the bottom and are about to leave when they hear it again twice. But I've saved the best paranormal evidence for last. At 4 minutes and 20 seconds, they capture these eyes and a sigh from behind. They didn't hear or see it at the time, but like I said in the beginning, they're not professional ghost investigators and missed some of the scariest things caught on camera. Thank you so much for getting me to 30,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 40,000 subscribers next. Thank you.